Hello and welcome to A Baker's Passion. I'm Ray Madursky, and today I'm going to demonstrate how to make a variation on the Pithivier that we did in our last video. And this is going to be something from Switzerland, the Glarus Almond and Prune Pie. It's a Pithivier-like cake. It's contained in puff pastry, but in addition to a wonderful almond cream, the Glarus pie also has prunes, pitted prunes, that have been kind of blanched in some tea. So you make a strong tea, put a little bit of Armagnac in it for really great flavor, and these are also contained in the filling of the pastry. So let's get going. What I'm going to do now is roll out the puff pastry. We're going to take one batch of the rapid puff pastry and divide it into two, but we'll make one piece just slightly larger than the second piece. Then what we'll do is dock one of the pieces, the smaller piece. That just means making a whole lot of fork holes in it, although I use this gadget, and I roll it across the dough. And then we'll put it to rest in the fridge for about 2 hours before actually forming the pastry. So here is the one piece, and here's the second piece. You can see the one piece, it's about a quarter larger than the other. So I'm going to roll the larger piece first, and then we'll roll the smaller piece. Because the dough is so cold and has so much butter, it's a good thing to get it started. Make it a little malleable by just using your rolling pin. I'm not doing it real hard, but I am just pounding on the dough. So now I will get rolling. Okay, that should do it. Doesn't roll perfectly round, but that's okay. First thing I'll do is get the excess flour off the dough. Then I'll turn it over and do the same thing. Now I'm just going to make sure the entire surface on one side has been docked. Now all I'm going to do is place this on a sheet pan lined with wax paper and make sure it's covered both sides, and then I'm going to let it rest in the refrigerator. Now I just removed this almond cream from the bowl and remove the plastic wrap and place it as much as you can in the center of the sheet of dough. Next, we're going to add the prunes that have been blanched in tea and then taken out of the tea and drained, and then put into a container with some Armagnac. You could omit the Armagnac, but there's a thing about Gascony and its wonderful flavors and whatnot. Armagnac is amazing with prunes that have been blanched, plumped, whatever you want to call it, in some tea. And that's what this particular pastry, even though it's from the German Swiss region of Glarus, it's all about these wonderful prunes and the Armagnac combination. So you can see I'm just covering the piece of almond cream. Now, if we were doing the French version, they got the tart gasconade, they would use just the prunes. They'd sprinkle some sugar and some additional Armagnac on them. The Swiss really tend not to do that. So we are doing the Glarus version, which is the Swiss. So we're going to be pretty faithful to that rendition. So there we are. Now I'll put the second piece of dough on top of the pastry. So what I have here is an egg wash. It's 1 egg, 2 yolks, 2 tablespoons of heavy cream, and a dash of salt. And this is our glue, it's our glaze, it's everything we need. Now, because of the way I tend to cut this particular pastry, you want to go out as far as you can with the wash. And I'll show you in a minute why we're doing this. You want to lift and push. Lift and push. You want a really good seal as we assemble this, because if we don't do this now and get all of the air out of the pastry, it will leak as it bakes, and we'll have melted cream and a real mess on our cookie sheet. Some people are brave enough to make these pastries on a half sheet or cookie sheet that has no sides. I would never do that, because one, puff pastry always leaks a little bit, and then you have butter all over. But very often, and I still have it happen occasionally, the pastries just come apart. So you don't want that to happen. And if you do everything I'm showing you here, you should be in good shape. Okay, there we go with that magnificent pastry. And now what we will do is create the vent. And to create the vent, I simply use a large plain tip for a pastry bag for buttercream and that sort of thing. And I just try to approximately identify the center, and I have my little vent. Okay, now I've trimmed the pie, the Prune and Almond pie, and I'll give it its first glazing, but you want to be careful not to go completely out to the end of the pastry. You just want to go near the end, because if we get any of the egg wash on the cut sides of the pastry, it'll keep them from rising, and we don't want to do that. Okay, so it's got the first glazing is done. And what happens now, we go for a 2-hour rest, hour and a half, 2 hours in the fridge. Now I'll put the second coat of egg wash onto the Glarus pie, and just a real quick running over. And we'll do some decorating, very simple decorations. Sometimes I've seen this particular version decorated with almonds and vents done down this way along the pie, but I just like to really keep it as simple as possible. So I just go out and around and out and around, just like I did with the Petivier. If you've watched that video, same kind of thing, except we'll do some fun things as we get in here. can put an inside line also. Okay, into the oven, 30 minutes at 425, then we lower the temperature to 350 for about 40 minutes. This is the finished Glarus Almond and Prune pie, as the Swiss would call it, but it's just a variation on the idea of the pitivier. Well, I hope this video has been helpful, and this now completes the series that I had planned to do using the easy-to-make puff pastry, Raise Rapid puff pastry. So I really hope you'll try some of these and just tackle the puff pastry, because it's so much fun, especially if you're a person who really enjoys the baking and things. And the Glarus Almond and Prune pie is an amazing dessert. There's something about the combination of taking prunes, plumping them in some tea, and then throwing some Armagnac into the mix. It's just amazing, guys, I promise you. There's a cake where the combination is used in the buttercream, Armagnac, and prunes, almost like a fraisier, but it's done with prunes, and they're plumped in tea and Armagnac, and it's just incredible. So I hope you'll try these recipes. I hope you'll like the video on YouTube, and go to the website, look over the recipes, try them, feel confident. I really just want to share the techniques for doing all this stuff, because it's such a great way to have fun and do things for people that you care about to share. So for A Baker's Passion, I'm Ray Madursky, and now I get to taste the Glarus pie. So in honor of all my friends in Switzerland, you get to taste this, and it's just an amazing combination of flavors and taste and everything. I don't know why we're so snooty in the US about eating prunes, because they're absolutely amazing, especially when there's a little tea and a little Armagnac involved. The pastry just melts in your mouth. It's beautifully baked. The filling is magnificent, and the prunes are unbelievable. So for A Baker's Passion, Ray Madursky, thank you and have a great day.